Je suis Ali, Anna Alex. My name is Alex. I am the CEO of Orca Oshi Capital Management. Salut. Nostrovia to my partner Ronnie, who's always BTS behind the scenes. And I'm an electronic dance music DJ. And hi, what's up? So let's dive right in. I've gotten such great feedback from many of you, but one thing, an idiosyncrasy I tend to have verbally is using the word so. S-O. I'm going to try and not do that. Diving right into it. The Federal Reserve will begin, more than likely, I predict it, hold me to my predictions if I'm incorrect. They will hike rates this week. More than likely, being that Jerome Powell has not done anything that I find. Is this too loud, by the way? Can we listen to some basketball? Or is this too loud? It's fine, right? We're good. Jerome Powell, again, Carlyle Group, I expect better from you when you have people like Larry Silverstein and David Rubenstein. I just expect a better Fed Reserve chair. So, based on Jerome Powell's dovish move and the existential threat of a hawkish Fed, I believe the Fed's going to try and remain quote unquote conservative in relation to rate hikes. I'm going to guess 0.25. However, remember, a couple weeks ago, I told you all about the Federal Reserve discount rate meeting with the banks, meaning the banks are going to require more in relation to borrowing. Therefore, anything credit related, mortgage related, that is not a fixed rate will potentially affect you. It's super duper duper nice when the Fed Reserve says, the banks particularly say, we are not going to charge overdraft fees. However, we will cactus fuck the shit out of you when it comes to rate hikes, because even 0.25 basis points is just too much for us. Therefore, we should up your adjustable rate mortgage times 10. So make sure you're reading the fine print. If you're a troll of mine, again, read the fine print as well as you are able to read every flaw about myself, and you are going to absolutely thrive. Jobless claims, 227,000 filed first-time unemployment the past week. So here we go again, Steve Jobs to no jobs. America, are we going to just allow China and Russia? Did we pass the torch willingly? I'm not sure. As someone who has read Klaus Schwab's writings in relation to the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, it does look very ironic to myself when I hear world leaders saying things such as build back better. And then I see a resistance movement from Russia and China, who have wanted to de-dollarize since 2014, have the 38 amendments that they renewed every 3 years. And more importantly, the Chinese are now going to deal with Russia in something called, that I'd never heard of before. And so I don't want to pretend to know. I will give you guys the synopsis and you can do your own research, or if you'd like me to get more in depth about it. But China and Russia are going to do business dealings without what's called letters of credit, which will allow them to bypass Western sanctions. So, dear sanctioners or people, whatnot, I have always been against sanctions. I am a millennial, and so I saw the existential threat that sanction cause people over leaders of places. And again, if they're just going to do things to get around them and the only people who are going to hurt are citizens, then I think we should all be asking ourselves, what the fuck? WTF? Let me know in the C section below if you agree, if you disagree. Do you think Jerome Powell, our Federal Reserve Chairman, is going to ever display a hawkish tone? Inflation hit 7.9%, the highest it's been in 40 years. And we all know that probably John Williams at shadowstats.com is more accurate, therefore putting inflation potentially about 20%. I have some harrowing statistics as well. I have said that we are in a depression recession. Just to give a bit of data as to why I believe so, the Dow for 5 weeks in a row has gone down, 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 down. I almost feel I need to do some sort of dance because a lot of people have not followed the, for example, airline crashes, many crashes from last week. But then again, the news doesn't use terms such as crash. They like to use less suffocating terms now, like correction. You guys, let's call a spade a spade. If something drops more than 10%, call it what the fuck you want, but it's enough to be some sort of intellectually offended to just hear the word correction. Goldman Sachs has pulled GDP back to 1.3% and has a 35% recession indicator. So all I have to say is this. For all of you who know me and know that David Solomon, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, a DJ who went to become the CEO of Goldman, is one of my role models, aside from Larry Ellison, who's just. But back to David Solomon, I just have to say that I predicted that first. I didn't need the Goldman Sachs indicator to tell me that America is going to be in a recession. I think when the Atlanta Federal Reserve Bank lowered the GDP outlet into the 0.0%, and it's on the Fed Reserve Atlanta's website, something was going off. Credit Suisse, UBS, margin calls have been triggered due to the sanctions. BlackRock, again, Larry Fink, great business dealings, except for the $17 billion he's now losing. While Russia and China are de-dollarized, meaning they've already come up with ways and prepared to not have to use the dollar. And there's not much the United States of America can do except let's make shit to make shit. The military industrial complex of Lockheed, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Textron can be great. And let's see, the C section, what are you saying? I predicted oil would go above $100. I did want to say that Peabody got a margin call on coal and got bailed out by Goldman with $534 million. So that's not the smallest lending. Do you all think we're going to see a bailout? I'm not sure how that's going to work. What about a bail-in where the bank keeps your money, which is legal? Check out bail-in. Let's talk about the central bank digital currency executive order Joe Biden put out. A lot of people, and by a lot, I hate saying that, let me correct my English. Many people seemed disgruntled over the executive order. I read it. It gives government agencies 180 days to put some sort of action plan together. As someone who is against centralized services, being that I'm in the blockchain space, I do see opportunity for myself to software develop a wallet that can potentially toggle centralized to decentralized. Do not plagiarize. I'm letting everybody know now. If you see me do it, that's what the deal is. However, I don't care for the idea of a central bank digital currency, meaning that it's a central bank, dot, dot, dot. Blockchain technology is decentralized. Peer-to-peer transaction means you don't need that central party. I am a bit afraid of our Federal Reserve central bank digital currency. Do we want the Federal Reserve that in our business? Yikes. I don't know about you guys, but I think America is in my business enough. Anytime I make $10, I feel it's America saying, no, we made $10. Now pay me taxes. And I'm like, okay, great. $2, here you go. And they're like, no, you guessed wrong, now jail. I can't be the only one who feels that way and is very confused with the IRS in general. And so I know that there have been recent statistics of 62% of Americans saying that inflation affects them. Right now, the 30-year mortgage is at 4.22%. And I couldn't agree more. I think that the economy is seeing a pullback. The Dow has been down 5 weeks in a row. I told everyone that I thought February was going to be a very choppy zone. And again, I go back to Evergrande, the second largest property developer, defaulting dollars. And I look at UBS and I see that UBS also had Russian debt. And I just have to ask myself, do the two powerhouses, Russia and China, that took on the de-dollarization project from 2014, along with OPEC Plus, are we simply allowing them to become the most massive powerhouse with the modern day Mao leader of China? Are we letting that happen? Let me know in the C section below. Do you believe our dollar is going to remain the world reserve currency? We are in the long-term debt cycle. And this is the first time in history we've been on a fiat system, when every country has been on a fiat system. And everyone keeps making this meme where it's a $10 bill and it says, check out our new $1 bills. And it just makes me want to vomit, cry, etc. I want to just remind you all, Ukraine is one of the largest wheat suppliers. They also have semiconductor material. I forgot what, I want to say it's some sort of specific gas that ends up going into semiconductors. China was stockpiling grain and had the world's largest grain stockpile as of December of 2021. What did they know that we did not? Whose intelligence are the United States of America? With whom are we speaking? I mean, I hate to say this, but America, wake the fuck up. We're not being included in jack shit. OPEC Plus exists. The concept of trying to lift Venezuelan sanctions, let me clue you all in. Do you know why we haven't invaded Venezuela yet? And it's not because of some good-willed shit. It's because the oil sucks. It's not good. It's not awesome Arab money oil. And I'm not going to be and I always say this, but Batman Salam will kill. The Venezuelan oil is not good oil. That's why we've not invaded Venezuela. It's not because of some humanitarian issue. And if we want to get deeper into that, can we just address Los Zetas and Iran? No one is talking about Iran, which, as someone who proudly represents the Imagion of David and who wears it, I believe Iran is an existential threat to peace in the East. The Ayatollah, not the people of Persia, and Nasrallah of Lebanon, Hezbollah. And I don't see them batting an eye. Los Zetas is at our southern border. They are funded by Iran. May I ask why America doesn't seem to give a fuck about America? Drop it in the C section below and explain to me why, for the love of God, when we have the triple frontier, Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, which is Iranian, the triple frontier is literally Iranian terror cells. And that is not of the people's fault of Persia. That is literally Hezbollah going through Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil. You have Cuba, but Los Zetas, Loszetas. Why is it that America is spending billions of dollars to protect foreign countries when we cannot even secure our fucking southern border, when we literally, no exaggeration, have Iranian proxied terror cells? You want to talk about Hitler? Let me tell you something about Hitler. The Ayatollah of Iran has conquered more territory, if not, than Hitler. Let's go. Palestine with Hamas. God bless everyone who I'm about to mention. And independent and status pre-privileges. Hamas, Iranian funded terror cell. Syria, Iraq, Lebanon with Hezbollah. And then we go to the triple frontier. Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, Cuba. Should we keep going? Then we have Los Zetas, Loszetas, Mexico. Then you have the Houthis of North Yemen. How many more countries are we going to allow the Ayatollah to put terror cells in that are a threat to democracy everywhere until someone says, fuck this shit? Just food for thought. Because I usually get on here and I talk about things. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It definitely helps my esteem because, as all of you know, I struggle with that. I wanted to get on though and just let you all know that I'm alive. I want to just remind everyone of Federal Reserve rate hikes and how they will affect you. And I did want to pull up the quantitative order book analysis that I use and just look at Bitcoin together, buy sell signals, Shout out to my brother Joe, who is a Tom Brady of technical analysis. So these are buy sell signals, which, yay. Let's look at what Bitcoin's doing right now. Again, Bitcoin is trading too linear to the New York Stock Exchange. So when everything is already doing this, everything's already done it. However, I don't really care to be actively trading in an industry right now where there's potential liquidity crises from private equity funds to banks. Lending is more expensive. And my favorite digital asset is linear to tech stocks. I find it troubling. And thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm super happy to have people interact. So, any questions, except one more for myself. Larry Ellison, hit me up, please. I am so intrigued with Larry Ellison, you all. I don't know if I've ever told you this. The founder of Oracle is my role model. He's Jewish. He had some dysfunctional family. He was told mean things by people related to him. College dropout, a lot of similarities, except he's obviously, I'm sure, much smarter. But I would like to think that as someone in the blockchain space, digital asset management space, and software developing dApps to DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, I do feel I have a space thanks to all the men. #mentors. So in this month of women, whatever the fuck it is, to every man out there watching, sharing, streaming, and supporting me, and I have Bagjatim Te Amo. I love you all so much. I'm so incredibly gracious for you. Bisu Besu Bachi. And I will be on here definitely more than later. And we're watching some basketball right now. Kansas, Texas Tech.